In mid-July, Poshmark made promoted listings available to all sellers. And as you saw last month, my sales were pretty low. So I did not even think twice about enrolling my Poshmark closet to be promoted. I needed all of the help I could get, and I figured paying Poshmark to promote my listings could result in a few extra sales here and there, but it did way more than that. Shortly after enrolling in what they call my promoted closet beta, I was having December type sales. At the end of the video, I will talk a little bit more about Poshmark's promoted listings and just my final thoughts on the whole thing, my experience, because it's not all good. But for now, let's get into some of the top sales of the month, and we'll also discuss a few low ones too. We're going to start off with the Noteworthy sales. These are sales by brands that I would consider to be Bolo brands because I've either never found them and this is my first time selling them, or I've sold them very rarely in the past. Starting off, we're going to talk about a Poshmark sale. It was these FootJoy men's lace-up golfing sports sneakers. This right here is an excellent golf brand to pick up in shoes and in clothing. I've only ever sold shoes. This is my second pair of them, but I have heard from other resellers that FootJoy polos do really well for men, and I'm sure there's a lot more clothing pieces that could do well from them. But just in general, overall, I would say golfing shoes is a good style to be on the lookout for, and if you ever come across them, go ahead and do your comps because there are a lot of different kinds of brands that could do well. These shoes right here sold for a total of $30, and I had them listed for 115 days. The next sale is also a Poshmark sale, and it was these Karl Lagerfeld slip-on pink suede diamond embellished shoes. In the beginning of my reselling journey, I did pick up a Karl Lagerfeld dress that sat around for a very long time, and then it did not even sell for much. So since then, this brand to me was a no-lo. Do not pick it up because it performs bad. That's just the impression that was left in my mind by that dress sale that I had. So when I received this pair of shoes in a flip-flop, I wasn't too excited about them. I was prepared to be sitting on them for a while, but they performed surprisingly well. So maybe I have this brand all wrong. If you've sold it in the past, let me know how it does for you. This particular pair of shoes sold for a total of $33 in just 11 days. The next sale, again on Poshmark, it was these Joseph Siebel blue leather casual flat Mary Jane comfort shoes. This is another pair of shoes that I got in a flip-flop, and another brand that I'm pretty sure I've been skipping in the past because the brand looks and sounds familiar to me. Maybe I have sold a pair before and I just don't remember. Either way, now I am going to be looking out for it because this pair of shoes performed pretty well. They sold the same day that I listed them for a total of $34. The next one is yet again on Poshmark. A lot of my sales happened on Poshmark, and it's all due to those promoted listings. This next pair of shoes was by a brand called Why Are You. There were some ultra high platform red leather lace up chunky wedge sneakers. These here were pretty unique. They're the tallest shoes I've ever sold. Compared to other ones that I saw on Poshmark when doing comps, these are more on the simple side. They're just a plain red. I saw some that were extravagant. They had all sorts of embellishments. They were super bright colors. Again, these shoes, I got them in a flip-flop. I've never come across this Why Are You brand at the thrift stores that I go to, but if I ever do, I am going to pick them up as long as they are in good condition and I can get them at a good price, because this pair of shoes performed really well too. They did sell in a bundle with a Coach purse, so the price worked out to be $38.50, and these shoes sold in just one day. And the next noteworthy sale that I want to talk about today was yet again on Poshmark, and it was these pair of Farini embroidered brown leather mid-calf Western cowgirl boots. As many of you know, Western boots is one of my favorite categories to sell because they are very profitable. So I love learning about new Western brands. I've never heard of this Farini brand before. It's my first time picking it up, and it did not disappoint. These boots here sold for $62 in just 2 days. Moving on to the next category, we have some high price sales. Kicking off the list, we have this Poshmark sale again. This time it's not shoes, we have a dress. It was this soft surroundings maxi tank dress. I wanted to include this dress in this section because clothing in the high price category is pretty rare for me nowadays. As many of you know, I've slowed down on picking up clothing. Well, I completely stopped actually. When I go out to thrift stores, I never go through the clothing section. The only times I'm listing clothing now is when I'm cleaning out my personal closet or when I get clothing items in flip lots. And that's where I got this dress. As soon as I saw it listed in the lot, I knew that it would perform really well because we were in the season for it, and I've sold it like 3 or 4 other times in the past. The style name of this dress is called Santiago, and I remember that very clearly because that's my son's name. It's super long, soft, stretchy, kind of more on the lightweight side. It has pockets, and they make it in all sorts of beautiful pastel type colors and darker colors too. And it seems that people really like this dress. They seek it out because it's always been a fast flip for me. This one here sold for $40 in just 5 days. The next high price sale on Poshmark, I sold the Stuart Weitzman navy blue patent leather slip-on bow loafer shoes. Not all Stuart Weitzman shoes are a good pickup. A lot of the ones that I find at the thrift store are super outdated, so I will skip those. But I was pretty confident with these loafers because they look more modern. As soon as I listed it, I was getting lowballed. A lot of the times, if the profit is still there, I will accept an offer even if it's lower than I expected it to be. But these shoes were beautiful and they were in excellent condition. So with these, I decided to hold off and wait for a higher price sale. And I'm glad that I did because they ended up selling for $47 and they took a total of 20 days to sell, so not too long. Next up, we have a sale that is finally not on Poshmark. This time it's on eBay, and it was the Sorel Black Nubuck Leather Outdoor Waterproof Ankle Booties. These did take a long time to sell, a total of 136 days, but that was to be expected because I listed these at the beginning of spring, and now that we're towards the tail end of summer, boot sales are slowly starting to ramp up. I'm seeing more boot sales every day, which I'm super excited about because I love boot season. They sell for a lot more than summer shoes, and I end up with higher sales months. These Sorel boots right here sold for a total of $49.50. The next high price sale, we have a Poshmark sale, and it was these Harley Davidson slip resistant motorcycle boots. I've sold a bit of Harley Davidson clothing pieces in the past, but I've never gotten a hold of shoes by this brand, and that is because they price it up way too high at the thrift store, and when I do comps, it just doesn't make sense. These boots right here, for example, they would probably price them at like $40 or $50. So after selling them and the selling fees from the platforms, there's just not that much room for profit. These boots, I did get them in a flip lot, and if I remember correctly, it was a 60-40 split. I kept 60% of the sale and she kept 40%. So this was a pretty profitable sale, and they only took a total of 15 days to sell. And of course, in the high price sales category, I always have to throw some Ariat boots in there, and that's what this next sale is. It was on Poshmark, and it was these Ariat men's Western cowboy boots. They sold for a total of $87, and they took 12 days to sell. And to end off this high price sales list, we have the highest price sale of all. It was on Mercari, and it was actually a piano. It was this Casio black compact portable digital piano keyboard. I initially got this piano on Mercari, and then I turned around and sold it on Mercari. I got it with credits that I get from people who sign up via my link. Technically, I got this piano for free. I got it for my daughter because she was taking lessons at one point. Over time, she lost interest, so this piano was just sitting there taking up room. It is pretty bulky, and I figured I might as well post it before it incurs some damage and then it's not sellable. It sold for $244, and I had it listed for 80 days. I did offer free shipping on this. I ended up paying $35 to FedEx for them to pack it safely for me, and then I bought the shipping label on Pirate Ship for a total of $63. So after the packing, the shipping, and the Mercari selling fees, I was left with a total of $113 for this piano, which is still good for a piano I got for free, but it is a long way down from $244, which was the initial selling price. I didn't have too many same-day sales in the month of July. I had a few, and then a few others that sold within a day and some within 2 days. So we're going to talk about a mix of all of those. Starting off with this Poshmark sale, it was these Lucky Brand black leather slip-on preppy ballet flats. I bought these flats thinking that I may have to sit on them for a little bit. I do go through a lot of flats. I sell a lot of them by many different brands, but I feel like these type of Lucky Brand ballet flats are oversaturated. There's so many listed on Poshmark and on eBay too, but they were only like $3 or $4, and they were a larger size at a size 12, and it was more of a neutral color, so I figured I had a chance. They did end up performing way better than I expected. They sold the same day, and they sold for a total of $27. The next fast sale, again on Poshmark, we have these Olukai platform brown leather outdoor wedge flip-flop sandals. Olukai is one of my favorite brands to sell during the summer, because during the summer what sells the most is sandals, and sandals don't always sell for that much just because they're a lot less substantial than the winter boots. But with Olukai, it's different. You can usually get a lot more for them than you can with other sandals. I listed these right here for a total of $39, probably expecting to get anywhere from $28 to $29. But when I received a $25 offer, I went ahead and accepted it because my sales were so slow in the beginning of July. I was accepting all reasonable offers, and $25 for a pair of sandals that took only 1 day to sell is still pretty decent. The next fast sale is an eBay sale, and it was these Morel slip-on comfort clog shoes. I shared these shoes in my most recent thrift haul. It was a huge shoe haul. I will link it right here if you'd like to watch it. That day at the thrift store, they were stocked up with my favorite bread and butter shoe brands that I pick up all of the time. They had lots of these same style of shoes in different colors and sizes. They were priced at $8.50. I was afraid they would sit for too long, so I only ended up picking up 4 of these kind of shoes. 3 out of the 4 have sold so far, and now I wish I would have gotten more. These right here sold for $28. I also had some blue ones that sold for $25, and I had some that were brown leather that sold for $29.50 in a bundle. The next fast sale is on Poshmark, and it was these Judy Blue high-rise dark blue wash bootcut denim jeans. If you frequent the jeans section, this is an excellent brand to pick up and look out for, especially in larger sizes. I listed these jeans for $42 on Closet Clearout Day. Someone liked them, so I messaged her and told her that I could drop the price for her and that Poshmark would also give her a shipping discount. She agreed to that. So with that closet clearout method, I managed to sell these jeans for a total of $32 in just one day. And I do have a complete tutorial on how I use closet clearout to make sales. So if you'd like to watch that, I will also leave that video linked right here in a card. And I also do leave the links to the videos that I'm sharing in the description. The next sale is on eBay, and it was the Soul Society Espadrille Wedge tan leather knot platform sandals. I looked on my Poshmark closet and I only see one other sale that I've made by Soul Society. It was a pair of boots that sold for, I think it was like $30. These sandals here sold for $29 in 2 days. So I guess it's safe to say that you can expect around $30 for this brand, depending on the style, condition, and all of that. I do see it a lot at the thrift store, but I don't pick it up because sometimes the comps that I see aren't that great. But I think I am going to be experimenting a lot more with this brand since it's been performing well for me the few times that I have picked it up. Next up on Poshmark, we have the Salvatore Ferragamo Boutique Braided Wedge Sandals. I don't know too much about this brand. I think it is a higher end brand and I do see it a lot at the thrift store, but most of the time the shoes I do come across are super outdated and they're overpriced at the thrift store. So I haven't had the opportunity to pick up and sell many shoes by this brand. These right here though were reasonably priced and they had a more modern look to it with the woven crisscross straps. They had a chunky platform. All of those things are trendy and I think that's why they ended up performing good and selling quickly. They took only 2 days to sell and sold for a total of $46. Those were some of the highlights of the month. Now I want to talk about some sales that did not go so well because it's also good to know what not to pick up and what to avoid at the thrift store. Starting the list off, we have a Poshmark sale and it was these Connie Western square toe Chelsea ankle boots. When I picked up these shoes, I had recently sold some Durango shooties that looked very similar to these. That's why I decided to pick these up. I figured I could sell them on style alone, but I definitely miscalculated this one because they ended up selling for only $12 and they took a total of 540 days to sell. Not good. Next up on Poshmark again, we have the Superga wool blend low top Sherpa sneakers. I come across this brand a whole bunch at the thrift store and I would always skip it because after doing comps I was just not too convinced that they would do well. I think what happened with these shoes is that I picked them up on a day when I was not finding too many things, so I was being a little bit more lenient. And since they were wool blend and they were the Sherpa style, I figured I'd finally give them a try to see how they perform, because sometimes comps can be misleading. It can look like it's not going to sell or do well and it ends up doing well for me. It just depends. But in this case, I should have listened to those comps because they ended up selling for $18 and they took a total of 373 days to sell. Since then, I have not picked up this brand, but I did recently receive a pair in a flip lot. Someone purchased them like within a week and then they canceled on me. So now we'll have to wait and see how long those take to sell. Next up on Poshmark, we have these Knox Rose high-waisted shorts. These here sold for $12 and they took a total of 349 days to sell. I think $12 for some lightweight Knox Rose shorts is what's to be expected. It's a lightweight item, so it's not going to sell for much. It would have just been a little bit better if they didn't take this long to sell. Next up, we have a Poshmark sale and and it was this Fabletics mesh athletic jacket. Fabletics is a brand that is a big no-no for me in the clothing section. There was a time in the past where I would actively seek it out because their pieces would flip pretty quickly for decent amounts, but that has changed. Nowadays they sit forever. It sold for $12 and they took a total of 325 days to sell. The last not so good sale I'm going to talk about is a Poshmark sale, and it was these vintage Tommy Hilfiger men's fisherman sandals. I do pick up some Tommy here and there. I try to be very particular though, because not all Tommy shoes do well. These here I thought would do okay because they were fisherman sandals, they were brown leather, and they just appear to be high quality. I had them listed for a total of $45 and they weren't selling, so I kept dropping the price over time, and finally after 245 days these sold for $25. Now it's time to talk numbers. In the month of July I sold a total of $5,759. That is way more than I expected to make in July because the first 2 weeks were pretty slow, and I thought that I would end up with a month very similar to the previous month. I listed a total of 151 items the month of July. That's about 4 to 5 items a day, which is not really good, but I did end up selling 191 items, which equals out to about 6 sales a day when you average it out. So I listed less but managed to sell about 40 more items than the previous month. The average selling price remained pretty steady at about $30.15, and the average cost of goods stayed steady as well. It was a total of $7.94. Breaking the sales numbers down by platform, on Poshmark I made a total of $3,857. That is an increase of $1,650 from the previous month. On eBay we're back down. Total sales for the month there was $1,329. eBay has been a total roller coaster for me this year. 1 month it's up and 1 month it's down. There was a point in time where my sales were steadily increasing over there. Each month I would make a little bit more than the previous month, but as of lately there's just no consistency. It's up and down, up and down. But I think that is mainly because of my listing habits. I'm being so sporadic with the amount of listings I put up every single day. Sometimes I'll put up 8, sometimes 5, sometimes 4, sometimes none. So because I'm being inconsistent, so are my sales on eBay. On Mercari, we did do a little decent, but that is only because of that piano sale. My total sales there were $535, and remember that piano sold for $244. So if it wasn't for that sale, I would have made a total of about $300 this month on Mercari. Like eBay, Mercari is pretty inconsistent, but I feel like they are more so. I am really thinking about dropping Mercari again and trying harder on Depop instead. I've been slowly cross-listing a few items here and there, and so far on Depop I've sold a total of 4 items. But just like eBay, they don't have to pay right away. So only 2 of them have paid so far. One of them happened in July. The other one happened in August. So we'll talk about that one next month. But in July, what sold was these pair of Franco Sardo shoes. I had these shoes listed on all of my other platforms for over 100 days and they just weren't selling. And then when I cross-listed them to Depop, they sold within a month. They sold for a total of $36.99, but that's with shipping included. Now let's talk about Poshmark's new promoted listing feature. First of all, let me explain what it is. If you enroll your closet into this new feature they have, they will take all of your listings that you have for sale and put them up higher in the search and in other prominent areas on the Poshmark app, this will give your items more visibility and a higher chance for them to sell. All you have to do to get started is go onto Poshmark, enroll your closet, and then set a weekly budget. Every time someone clicks on one of your promoted listings, you will be charged and money will be taken out of that weekly budget. Once your weekly budget hits zero, Poshmark will stop promoting your listings until the following week when you replenish that budget. This is one of the things I really do not like, and I wish that Poshmark would go about it a different way. On eBay, if you pay an ad fee to have your listings promoted, when someone clicks on it, if they don't buy, you don't get charged. You only get charged the ad fee if someone buys because they clicked on a promoted listing. On Poshmark, you get charged for that click whether they buy or not. Another thing that I do not like about how Poshmark is doing promoted listings is that they are not very clear on the amount you're getting charged per click. On eBay, you get to set the percentage, how much you're willing to pay eBay when your item sells due to promoted listings. But on Poshmark, they're very vague about it. In their FAQ section, it says that the amount you're going to get charged depends. It's going to vary from listing to listing, and there's a lot of different factors that they will take into consideration. So you'll never know for sure exactly how much you're paying to promote each of your items. And the last thing that I want to make very clear about this promoted listing feature is that it is not a guaranteed way to increase your sales. It may seem super easy, just enroll your closet, Poshmark will promote your listings, and you'll see your sales coming in. That is not the way it's going to work. At least that's the way I see it so far in the short amount of time that I've been using it. On the analytics page for your promoted listings, it shows you all sorts of different metrics, and it also shows you which items sold from your closet via promoted listings. A large majority of the items that I saw there sold because I reached out to buyers on closet clearout days, or I reached out to likers offering them a bundle deal. So basically, Poshmark brought me the buyers via the click on the promoted listings, but it was my efforts with my normal marketing tactics I do on the daily basis that ended up closing the sale. So just because you turn on this feature on your Poshmark closet doesn't mean that your work is done and that there's nothing else to do. From what I can see so far, it's going to take some effort from your part to encourage people to go ahead and make that purchase. This is a very new feature from Poshmark. It is still in beta testing, so I'm sure as it continues to develop and they get feedback from us sellers, they will continue to make some changes. So hopefully as it develops, it will get better with its analytics and just the transparency of how much we're being charged per click and different analytics like that. In the comments down below, let me know, have you tried out promoted listings on Poshmark? If so, what is your experience with it so far? Also, let me know how were your July sales. In a playlist right here, I will leave more reseller income report. So if you'd like to watch more, go ahead and click that playlist right here. And that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.